Good evening, everyone. Thursday, January 13th, 2022. Time for episode 10 of The Last Admiral. On this day in history, in 1915, Italy's worst earthquake in its history claims 30,000 lives. In 1968, Johnny Cash performs live at Folsom State Prison. In the year 2000, Bill Gates steps down as CEO of Microsoft. In 2001, two deadly earthquakes claimed 1,315 souls in El Salvador. And in 2012, the Costa Concordia sank, killing 32 people. Some notable birthdays include George Gurdjieff, Bill Bailey, Stephen Hendry, Marco Pantini, and Nate Silver. We'll begin the reading at the bottom of page 76 with the chapter entitled Assassin. His real name was Zhao Konrum, or Hidden Dragon. He was the identity beneath the illusion of the overbearing Nhu Yan. His guild name was Bei Kuo Kon Yen, the trapdoor spider, and this name was perhaps the one that most befitted him. Zhao was even-tempered, scheming and deceitful to his enemies. Mixing truth with lies like a perfect tapestry, he could blend in anywhere. Zhao was energetic when on a mission, brave when confronting danger, and lustful in his devotion to his deity. He was a religious fanatic loyal to the coven who would commit suicide without a second thought in order to avoid capture. He, of course, did not intend to do either on this mission, and his escape was well prepared. His sailor's trunk was equipped with a false bottom, beneath which he kept his secret possessions. Hidden there were a priceless sword, a magical crossbow, potions, and more, all of them awaiting the final hour, when he would need them to make good his escape. The hour was near, but he did not want to leave without some token of his quarry. If only he could get close to the body, then he could be certain that no glimmer of life remained in it. Only then could he consider his mission to be complete and return to his mistress. "J.W., Lord Guy shouted from the Admiral's doorway. "Sound the alarm. The Admiral is unconscious. Send for the physician at once." "Battle stations," J.W. commanded. "All Marines, report to the arms room." In fact, the entire crew was composed of highly trained Marines, but some sailors always needed to navigate, trim the sails, and otherwise operate the ship. Every other sailor bore arms for battle, and those soldiers not already so armed raced for their quarters to get their weapons. "What has happened, ye see?" the ship's physician asked. Holding his bag of emergency medical supplies and surgical tools, he waited for Lord Guy's order and then rushed into Aklon's cabin. "J.W., Lord Guy directed, see to it that no one enters these chambers without my command." "Aye, sir," he replied. Once inside, Guy quickly explained the Admiral's condition and Yi's own important role during the next hour. Yi was a brilliant doctor, talented in both magical and herbal treatments, bone setting, and all known surgical procedures. His close examination of Aklon's body quickly confirmed that the Admiral was both cold and dead, and sadly, beyond anyone's ability to help. With tears in their eyes, they walked out on deck. "The Admiral is dead." "Bring up a litter," J.W. ordered. "How is this possible?" "The Admiral was poisoned by something," Lord Guy reported. "Dr. Yi believes that it was a spider bite. I've searched the room and found no sign of it." "Careful with his body, sailors," J.W. said. "Bring him out into the light." 4 Marines placed Aklon gently onto the litter and bore his body out onto the deck. After arranging 2 large barrels, they laid the litter across them. In the sunlight, the spider's deadly bite wound was visible in all its necrotic morbidity. J.W. leaned over and whispered in Lord Guy's ear. "Is there something that I should know about, sir?" "Follow my lead," he whispered back. "We have an assassin on board. Here's my wand. It will detect our enemy when the command word didgeridoo is spoken." "Didgeridoo?" J.W. replied incredulously. "Yes, but don't activate it until I give the word. Act as if it is already functioning." "J.W.," Lord Guy said softly, "use my wand to search below decks. If the spider is there, my wand will find it." "Aye, sir," he replied. "I want 2 volunteers on the double to guard the Admiral's body." "Me, sir," volunteered Yu Yan, with tears in his eyes. "Very well, Ensign," J.W. directed. "You and the captain of the guard have first watch. I want 6 Marines with me. We are going below. Sergeant Che, take a head count. I want to know if anyone is missing." "Aye, sir," he replied. J.W. led his detail below in haste, with Lord Guy's wand leading the way. "Dr. Yi," Lord Guy said, "I want to search the Admiral's quarters more thoroughly." And the footnote is the meaning of didgeridoo. Okay. Of course, Yi agreed. Perhaps our spider left a trail of silk behind. The 2 men entered the cabin and closed the door. Outside, the ship sailed on with its Marines at battle stations. Zhao was emboldened by the turn of events. He knew that it was only a matter of time before the wizard's wand found Fiddler, but a few minutes were all that he needed. Dai Wei, the Admiral's personal bodyguard, was a problem. Yu and he were on good terms and had talked amicably at mealtimes, but Dai Wei was an officer who far outranked him. Massively built, Dai Wei was Aklon's shield-bearer on the battlefield. He was an expert with spear and halberd, and he had few rivals with long weapons in general. If it came to an open fight, Zhao had no chance against him, but he had no intention of fighting. "I can't bear to see him like this," Yu said. "I can't believe it." "Nor can I," affirmed Dai Wei, "but it is so." The captain of the guard remained alert, looking for any danger. Standing at attention, he held his razor-sharp spear in both hands across his chest. "I have failed in my duty. If only he had ordered me to his side, perhaps it would be I on that litter now, and not he." Yu took everything in, his meticulous mind missing nothing. No turn of events or the smallest detail. In no time at all, he found his token. He knew of the Lou Chiron signet ring, and he could see it now upon Aklon's right hand. Feigning weakness, Yu stumbled to Aklon's side. Grasping Aklon's hand in his, he took hold of the ring, hiding his actions beneath his covering hand. With those fingers, he secretly felt for a pulse. The flesh was cold and lifeless. There was no stirring of the blood. "Come now," Dai Wei ordered. "I know your pain, but we must not touch the body." Yu held on defiantly, feigning pain and sorrow. Dai Wei pulled him away. Yu concealed the ring in his hand. Moving to the rail, he vomited over the side. Wiping his mouth clean, he secretly swallowed the ring. "Captain Dai," Yu muttered, "I don't think that I can do this right now." Dai Wei was a most straightforward soldier, used to the honor of individual combat, and because of this, Yu's words both moved and fooled him. "Very well," he consented. "I will have An Sang relieve you." Dai Wei called for Ensign Sang, whose name meant shining sunset. A young female Marine, she took over Yu's post without complaint. "Thank you, Captain," Yu said. "I'll go below and see if J.W. needs more help." "Very well, Ensign," Dai Wei replied. Walking swiftly across the quarterdeck towards the forecastle, he could see that the 4 hatches leading to the sailors' quarters below were open. The sounds of an intensive search emanated from them. New descended the ladder brazenly, like a Marine heading out to join his squad in the front lines. The sailor, with whom he was not well acquainted, stood guard at the bottom of the stairs. "Hold there, ensign," the guard commanded. "No one's allowed below until the search is over." "But surely J.W. could use another hand." "Sorry, ensign, but those are my orders." "Very well, Sergeant, but let me know right away if he needs help." "I will." Yunyan was out of time. The guard was in his way, and there was no one else nearby. Pausing on the stairs, he slipped a needle out of the seam of his left sleeve, spun in a flash, and hurled it, striking the guard in the face. His mouth opened, and his eyes went wide. He wanted to scream, to sound the alarm, but the poison was nearly instantaneous. He died on his feet. New caught him as he fell. To his right was a four-legged stool. Sitting the guard down on top of it, he laid his head in his hands as if he was resting. They were searching the lower decks now. Moving fast, he snuck down the hallway to the sailors' quarters. The hatch was open. He looked into a ransacked room. Beds were overturned, and clothing was scattered about the floor. His trunk was open, torn apart, but he could see that his secrets were still intact. At the far end of the room, one sailor remained, searching the last few wall lockers. "Oh, New," he greeted. "I thought that you were guarding the Admiral." "Ansang relieved me. I was too upset seeing him like that." "Here, can you help me with this?" "Sure," New said. "Quick, look over there." Using the oldest trick in the book, he pointed toward the far wall. His face had an emphatic look. "What was that? I thought that I just saw something run under that overturned mattress." "What?" the sailor asked. "Over there?" Turning about, he looked in that direction, never seeing the blow aimed at his head. Zhao lowered him softly to the floor. "Sorry, lad," he whispered, "but I am out of time." Soon they would discover the dead guard in the hallway. Removing the trunk's false bottom, he dressed in his leather armor and wrist bracers, buckled on his weapons belt, and donned his cloak. Placing his remaining items in his backpack, including Fiddler, he told him, "Weave yourself a bubble. We are going swimming." "Swimming?" Fiddler thought to himself, processing the word in his tiny arachnid brain. "Swimming?" His family was by no means part of the many aquatic species of arachnidon, nor were they capable of swimming effectively. In a panic, he began to spin himself a shelter, as if his life depended on it, because, of course, it did. Neat and tidy, he twittered to himself. "Get ready," Zhao warned. "We're going to be moving fast." Uncorking a potion, he drank the contents, allowing its magic to wash over him. Its powers would transform him into any creature of his size, or smaller that he imagined, and alter his clothing and possessions into a single charm necklace that would appear around his neck. When its magic expired, or Zhao willed it, he would return to his original form. Imagining himself to be a healthy, strong black tomcat, like the ones aboard ship for rodent control, he transformed. Fiddler's box became a tiny charm on the cat's collar. Expelled from his home, he now resided on the floor inside of the fat ball of white silk that he had woven around himself. Zhao the cat then picked him up with his teeth in a well-practiced maneuver and ran for it. Leaving the room, J.W. and his men were just climbing up from below. "Hey!" a mate shouted. "What's that cat got in its mouth?" "That's it," J.W. declared. "After him, men!" Zhao raced from the room. Climbing the stairs in 3 great bounds, he made it onto the gunwale of by the bow. A few sailors on deck heard the commotion and raced toward the cat. Zhao ended the spell, returning to his elfin form. The Marines, stunned by his sudden transformation, finally composed themselves and prepared to attack him. Clasping Fiddler in his left hand, he leaped off the bow and into the sea, with a brace of spears passing over the spot where he had been. Diving in with his right hand uppermost, he swam deeper until the salty sea activated the magic of his cloak, transforming him into the mighty manta ray, albeit with a pair of protruding arms. He could swim and breathe with all the real animal's power and grace. Far from home, with no land in sight, he might have been lost if not for the siren's call of the coven, beckoning him forth more strongly than any compass ever could. Swimming swiftly away, he rode the waves. Fiddler, wet, cold, and beside himself, tried hard to plug up the holes in his web before all his air leaked out. Zhao knew that his friend would never survive the lengthy journey back to Ferret Hoth. Remaining hopeful, he searched the sea for a fishing boat or some small island where they could rest. Filled with the passionate glory of his success and the Lucheron family signet ring, he could hardly wait to report to his queen. "Damn," J.W. cursed. "We lost him." "He must have drowned," one sailor reasoned. "No way," J.W. replied, searching the surface of the sea. "He had this planned all along." Lord Guy then arrived. "Shall I go after him, sir?" No, the wizard directed. "Help me get the Admiral back into his cabin." "Aye, sir," J.W. answered. "On the double, men." Once inside, Lord Guy cast a powerful spell to prevent watchful magical eyes from seeing him within the room's confines. Dr. Yi was present when he ended the cataleptic spell that had rendered Aklon so perfectly dead. Slowly, Aklon's bodily functions returned to normal. Dr. Yi worked fast to cleanse his exposed skin with neutralizing herbs where the assassin's poisonous hand might have touched his. In minutes, their Admiral was alive and well. "Status, J.W., Aklon requested. Flabbergasted, but smiling like a child with a new puppy, he struggled to compose himself and replied, "One Marine is dead, sir, and another one has a hell of a headache." "Which sailor?" Aklon asked painfully. "Ensign Luke, Admiral. He was a fine Marine." "You did the right thing, sir," J.W. observed. "He was good. It is a miracle that he only killed one man. He was fast, really fast, and almost as quick as you." Dr. Yi, devastated to lose a patient, said, "Shall I send a letter of condolence to his family, sir?" "No," Aklon bid. "Every move that we make from this moment on could spell our doom. Ensign Luke can do one more service to the 11th before his spirit flies to the beyond. Carry him up from below between two Marines, as if he yet lives, and bring him here. We will exchange clothing, and with a little bit of gnomish magic, you will bury me at sea." "An excellent plan, Admiral," Dr. Yi agreed. Let the men come in one by one, in order to pay their final respects to their captain. There is no more need for them to carry their sorrow." "Aye, sir," J.W. replied. "And J.W., Aklon asserted, leave the wand. Let us see if we have any more enemies among us. Shall we inform the rest of the fleet, Admiral? Send a message that there was an accident on board, resulting in one sailor's death and a severe injury to me. Sergeant Luke's formal burial at sea is to commence immediately. Proceed to the rendezvous point off Proceed to the rendezvous point off the southern coast of Wahi as planned. So naturally any spies on board our other ships will believe that we are covering up your untimely death." "Naturally," Aklon said. "Didgeridoo?" J.W. asked. "Didgeridoo indeed," Aklon replied. We'll begin the next episode on page 85 with the chapter entitled The South Sea. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great night.